Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Todd. This is Todd. For today's video, I've decided to do Swedish meatballs. For this, you're going to need 75 grams or 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. You're going to need 60 milliliters of whole milk and heavy cream, which is 1/4 cup each. You're also going to need 454 grams of ground pork and ground beef, which is 1 pound of each. You're also going to need half of a large onion. Well, this is a medium, so I might use 3/4 of that. But you're also going to need 30 grams or 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. You're going to need 1/8 teaspoon of allspice and nutmeg. You're also going to need 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper. And for the meatball seasoning, you are going to need 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice and nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of salt. You're also going to need 2 large eggs, and of course you're going to need about 6 teaspoons of butter. And you're also going to need 3 cups of beef broth. I'm using Better Than Bouillon, so I will reconstitute that with water according to the directions. And you're going to want to go ahead and start off by preheating your oven to 95 degrees C or 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're going to want to go ahead and dice your onion into small pieces, and you are going to want to add 2 tablespoons of your butter to your skillet, and you're going to want to sweat these until they are soft. I will go ahead and just get that done off the camera and bring you back. Okay, so these have sauteed now for about 5 minutes, and they're perfect for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the eggs out of this bowl. And I'm going to go ahead and just add in my breadcrumbs, which is 75 grams. So let me grab my scale right quick. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my 60 mils of whole milk. And I am going to mix this together. And if it looks a little dry, you can go ahead and add in a little extra milk, which I think I'm going to leave mine right where it is. And I'm going to just let this rest here for about 5 minutes so this can soak up the milk and these can cool off a little bit. And I will bring you back with the next step. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes now, and these have cooled off enough for my liking. I'm going to go ahead and dump these in. And then the breadcrumbs that was soaking in the milk. And I'm also going to go ahead and add in the 2 eggs. And to mix this up, I am going to use a stand mixer. It just makes it a lot easier to use a stand mixer versus your hands. And you are going to want to mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I will go ahead and just bring you back once this is all mixed up and these are ready to be fried. Oh, and one other thing I did forget to go ahead and mention before I started mixing is you're going to want to go ahead and add your spice blend for your meatballs. Okay, so this is all mixed up now, and now I'm portioning them out in the meatballs, and to do this, it's going to be 30 grams or 1 ounce. Plus minus 1 gram, it's okay. And you're just going to want to form these into meatballs. And I have 3 tablespoons of butter in my skillet that is warm. And I'm just going to start placing the meatballs in the pan, one at a time. And this recipe should yield about 32 to 40 meatballs. Just depending. You can make these any size you want, but this right here is the sweet spot for me. I'm going to go ahead and just get all of these made up and I will bring you back. Okay, so I got my skillet full with meatballs right now, and I just turned my heat from a low to a medium. And you're looking to get these completely cooked. So this will take about 5 to 10 minutes. And I still have about half left. So I'm going to probably end up getting more than I originally planned on, which is fine. But I'm going to go ahead and just fry these up off camera, and I will bring you back. Okay, so I got all my meatballs fried up, and they're in that preheated oven so they can stay warm. I normally would go ahead and just reuse the fond, but it got a little too dark for my liking, so I went ahead and just cleaned my pan out and kept the grease. I'm going to go ahead and pour back all of that grease, minus the big chunks right here. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the flour and mix that in. I'm actually going to add in a little extra flour. As this looks a little too wet for my liking. And you're going to want to go ahead and cook this roux for about a minute or two. Not really wanting to get it too dark. And I'm going to go ahead and get that pot on the back coming up to a boil, since I've decided to do this with egg noodles tonight. I normally would do it on mashed potatoes. Since I'm using a broth base, I am going to add 2 cups of water, and then the last third cup is going to be reconstituted base. I went ahead and added my seasoning in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and start pouring in the water, or if you're using broth, you can just use straight broth. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the reconstituted broth that I have. And I'm going to bring this up to a boil and then down to a simmer. I'm going to go ahead and add in my egg noodles to my boiling water. Okay, so I got my egg noodles in. I decided to do that off of camera. Okay, so I got my gravy about as thick as I want it, which is quite thick. And I did not end up using enough, I got a noodle in here. And I did not end up using enough flour because I had way too much oil to flour. So I will go ahead and just update my recipe to accommodate for that extra flour. Since I have not made this recipe in particular in quite some time, I just went ahead and used a cornstarch slurry to thicken this up the rest of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the heavy cream, which you do not need to use. It just lightens the tone of the gravy a little bit and makes it just a little creamier and rich. And right about now, I am actually going to go ahead and taste this for salt, since I only put in a 1/4 teaspoon in this. You also need to keep in mind that the meatballs are salted too. You're also salting your mashed potatoes and or your egg noodles, whatever you choose to use for a side. You can also throw in a vegetable, which I would probably use broccoli or cauliflower to help mop up the extra gravy. But I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my tasting spoons here and go ahead and just give this a taste to see if it needs any extra salt. I don't think I'm going to add any extra salt once the meatballs get in there. I believe it will be salty enough. But if you find it's not salty enough for your liking, you can go ahead and add in extra salt. I'm going to go ahead and give my egg noodles a stir and go ahead and check them for doneness. Okay, so since my gravy's done, I've went ahead and took my meatballs out to start adding my meatballs in to my gravy. And what you're looking for on your meatballs is a nice skin or crust, whatever you want to call it. Not sure if you really could see that or not. I will go ahead and check that through editing. But I am going to just go ahead and start adding these in and give this a good mix and put a lid on it to keep it hot while my egg noodles are finishing. And I'm going to go ahead and just give this a stir to coat my meatballs in gravy. And I'm also going to go ahead and taste the salt level again at this time, because I do not want my gravy over salted. And I am going to go ahead and grab another tasting spoon and give this a second taste. Okay, that's perfect. So since this part is done, I'm going to go ahead and just end my video right here. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to come back and enjoy watching me on this journey of mine.